Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Bearded Senpai podcast. My name is Miasma, and tonight we're going to be talking about how I believe that the anime community in general needs to be more positive, both about themselves as individuals and as a collective for advocating this hobby that we all share, anime and manga, being an otaku, as it were, and we'll get to that term in a second. Being a weeaboo, I guess we'll also get to that term in a second. But people that are into these Japanese cartoons and comic books, and I would be echoing a lot of points made by my good friend Bob Samurai in his video, which was titled "Otaku Humor is Depressing. Stay Positive," which I found to be a really cool sort of evaluation that he took on a lot of these memes that he was seeing online. A lot of pictures and just like I'm sure stuff from like comment sections and stuff that were made by anime fans and manga fans and so forth, basically making fun of themselves. A lot of self-deprecation going on, making fun of the fact that they like anime, so maybe girls won't like them or something, and they'll forever be alone, and just jokes about suicide and a lot of these things that shouldn't really be joked about because they're serious issues that people may have. Like, I mean, I'm certainly guilty of in the past saying, the show was so bad I wanted to jump off of a cliff or something. Which I realize is something that I probably shouldn't say. Suicide is not a funny thing, and I don't really literally mean that I would want to jump off the cliff. It's definitely not a topic that should be taken lightly, and I think that taking care of yourself, both physically and emotionally, spiritually, is also something that should be taken very seriously. I don't think a lot of people go into this hobby really, expecting it to be like a mainstream thing. I think people know that it's somewhat niche. Certainly, a majority of people in the U.S. like don't watch anime or read manga or really talk about that kind of stuff. The number's definitely growing. I think it's more, in air quotes, accepted. It's more accepted now than it ever was before. I think you'll see more people being open about it. Anime conventions statistically have more and more people going to them every year. So it's definitely becoming more mainstream. And while it is niche, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Look how many like cult things there are out there, like like Firefly or like Walking Dead or these shows that like not a majority, not statistically, not a majority of people like these things, yet a group of people do, a percentage of people do, and people are avid about it. People are open to talk about it. That's how anime and manga should be. People should be willing to talk about it and willing to say, this is what I like. I don't really feel bad about it in general. I like these shows. I like X and Y shows, and I like them for what they are. Now, I mean, can you be embarrassed by something that has like uh, brothers and sisters getting it on and like etchy boobs bouncing all over the place? I mean, maybe. I mean, if that's what you're into, I don't know, but maybe you don't want to be talking about that at the water fountain thing at work. But other than that, like I don't think that there should be a lot of like worry about talking about your hobby. And this is coming from me who's had a lot of like self-reflection on this. I work a pretty typical office job with people that are far older than me, and I never really talk about anime and stuff with them, just because I don't really feel the need to like actually describe like what I'm into to them. And it's I had a video about this in the past that it's a very clear distinction. I'm not really ashamed. I just don't want to take the time. Like, it's not like they see me, not like I bring like figures or Blu-rays or copies of manga to work very often. So like it's not like they really know that's what I'm into. And I have other hobbies, like I like sports and stuff like that. So I just talk with them about like what we might have in common. Like I don't try and like force it down their throat or anything. But if they asked me, the closest it ever came was they asked me about like that Ghost in the Shell live action film, which I had seen with my friends, mostly because I really like the Ghost in the Shell live action anime. And it was at that point where I talked about how, yeah, it wasn't that great. The original stuff is way cooler. And at which point my coworkers, were like, "Oh, hey, what do you mean original stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah, well, it's adapted from, there was this movie back in, God, I think it was '90s, might be '80s. Someone's gonna kill me in the comment section about that. I believe it's '90s. The original Ghost in the Shell film directed by Mamoru Oshii, and then it was also another anime series. Now, of course, I like." They probably just hear anime and think it's just some cartoon thing, which I'm not going to sit there and argue with them about it. But that day made me really realize that, like, I can talk about this stuff. Like, I'm not, like, ashamed of it. I just really choose not to. And I think a younger me would have, like, made up another story or, like, just been, like, really ashamed of what I was doing. But I don't think anime is something to be ashamed of, and I don't think it deserves people making it more negative than it is. Like when people just post like self-deprecating memes and stuff like that, I think it adds to whatever like depressing moods that people could have in the community. Like if someone's like very quiet and kind of just like stays to themselves and like watches anime or whatever, if they go to seek a public forum or a website or something, I don't think it helps that they see like memes that are like, oh, he thinks my waifu is shit, I'm gonna just kill myself, or something like that. I don't know, I just clearly made that one up off the spot. But, just stuff like that, and calling themselves, like, autistic and stuff like that. Like, autism, and I hear this a lot in, like, video games and stuff like that, just, like, in team chats of like, Overwatch and stuff like that. People just constantly bringing up, like, autism. Like, it's not a funny thing. It's a real thing. Like, could we please just, like, accept that that's like reality? Like some people have autism. Like do we like it's not like funny. Like oh my god. Like it's just why has that just become like the term we used to just say stupid? Like oh that guy's being stupid. Okay? That's not really right cuz what you say like I think reflects on you as a person and it really resonates with the people that you're talking to. And before like you let words just slip out of your fat fucking mouth, I think that you should just maybe take a second and like think about how that's going to affect people. I don't have a problem with being honest, like, but there's a positive and negative to like everything, and try to be more positive, less negative. Try to not be that guy who's bringing the mood down. Like if you see like a forum or something of a lot of people liking a certain show, like, and you disagree, like I don't think there's a really problem with like putting that you disagree, but then don't be sitting there saying that like everybody's opinion is shit and they have shit taste just because it's not your taste. No anime is perfect for everybody. I think there's anime that everybody should watch. But I've had people straight up that I highly recommend Cowboy Bebop to that tell me that they don't like it. And okay, whatever, I guess it just wasn't for them. I'm not going to sit here and tell them that like their taste is shit and they're wrong and everybody has to follow my kingdom of opinion here. No, everybody can fucking think the way they want to think. And they're not stupid, they're not autistic for thinking that way. It's just it gets me like a little riled up, I guess, because I love this medium a lot, and it took me a while to like I think really come to terms with that because I was away from it for like a little bit, and I kind of suppressed what I liked while trying to I guess become more popular or just like be like I envisioned that like I should like more mainstream stuff. I shouldn't like such like niche like things. and I was dumb back then. Like, like I should have just like liked what I would have liked. Like, I would have been watching a lot more shows at that time. I wouldn't have to play catch up on so many things that had come out over the years. But I'm talking a little too much about like just me. The community in general, I think, just needs to be more positive. Like it. Bob makes a really good point in his video that I highly recommend people watch. By the way, that like if you have like certain like social issues or something like that, you don't necessarily need to bring it up to like everybody because it's not gonna necessarily help. Like I don't think it's really wrong to like reach out to people, but don't like don't mock yourself, don't like or mock like people like you. Like it's at the end of the day, it's not gonna, I don't think, make you feel any better. It's just gonna be like a reminder of like flaws that you might have within yourself, and try to work on those, I think, in like your own way. Like, and I'm not like a psychiatrist or anything, and I've never seen a psychiatrist or whatever, but I do consider myself like fairly like slightly how do I put this? Like a slight, I think I have like slight like social anxiety for sure. There are situations where I think that like I really don't want to talk to strangers just because it makes me like uncomfortable. Not to the point of like Tomoko and Watamote, where like she just like she absolutely can't talk to people. I can. It's just like I just rather not, because I constantly feel like that I'm like being judged, which I know I shouldn't think like that. Like it shouldn't really matter, and I know that that's something like I need to work on. But I would not like sit here and like make memes making fun of people or anything, or making light of like how I am and how other people are probably worse than me. Like I think that Watamote, if you look at it, there's a reason why I love that show so much. And more so the manga. The show is okay. The show can be kind of boring at times, but that's sort of the point. I part of me thinks that Watamote is a masterpiece because it really highlights, like, it's a black comedy like about like how bad it can be, and how like if you see people like struggling with a certain social issue, like they should try and like, you should try it as a friend, try and maybe help them, and it would really help them themselves if they tried to dig themselves out of the pit a little more than just accepting like what they are. And Watamote, the main character, has like terrible social anxiety and slight like agoraphobia and so forth, and just has a lot of like depressing thoughts about herself. But conversely, she wants to be the most popular girl like in her school. Like she wants to be adored by guys, and she wants to be like the most talked about girl in her school, and like everybody pays attention to her and stuff. And she's continuously struggling and failing, mind you. But what I like most about that show is her getting up and trying again. Like, if the show went a different direction and she just like tried for like 2 episodes and then just like never tried again, and just like the show just kept like making fun of her and just kept like picking on her and stuff like that, it wouldn't be as great of a show as it is. It's just she has the mentality of just like, I'm not going to back down. Like I'm just she might like run to her room and cry about it or something, or just go play a game or whatever, but the next day she's back to trying to become the most popular girl. And I think that's sort of like a metaphor for like how a lot of people can live day by day. Like they'll literally just go and try to make this day that much better than the day before. And I think, let me get to like the otaku thing, I guess. So like otaku, weeaboo, like these terms are thrown around the internet a lot, and like I've used them myself. And you know, back in the day, I didn't realize the negative connotation behind otaku and like weeb and stuff like that. And you know, now that I'm older, I kind of realize that like I hate to sound like that older anime YouTube guy that's sitting here like saying like, don't use those terms, those are bad. Use whatever fucking terms you really want, but know what the hell you're talking about. So like otaku is usually used in, as far as I understand it, in like a negative, like you are like obsessed with something. You have an obsession. So like, I believe you can be like an otaku about like wrestling or like about like certain I don't know, fucking food. I guess I don't know other whatever people are really into. I picked wrestling because I know wrestling's popular in Japan. But so it's kind of like an unhealthy obsession, which highlight the term unhealthy there. And weeaboo just makes you sound like you want to be Japanese, or like you think that like their culture is necessarily like better than yours. That's kind of the vibe that I get from it. And I've been to Japan, and their culture is really cool and everything, but I don't think it higher than like my own. Like I'm glad that I was born where I was, and I'm glad that I have the values that I have and the life that I have, and I totally respect the Japanese viewpoint on like a lot of things, and I'm so grateful that they've given creators from that country have given us manga, have given us anime, have given us this medium that I love so much that America can't really replicate that well. Besides stuff like Avatar, or and to like a lesser extent Steven Universe, and what's the other one? Ruby. I haven't seen Ruby. It's out of those three, so that's kind of a stretch for me. But it seems like a lot of the anime community seems like Ruby, so I kind of tie it in with those. But while I'm grateful to it's weird to say grateful to Japan for that. Thank you, all of Japan. By the way, people that have never seen anime, I don't like put them in like a higher regard, just because they've given me cartoons to watch. I respect them a lot. I went there because I wanted to see what the culture was like, and see like old school like temples and stuff like that. A lot of like a lot of history, like a lot of buildings that have just been there for like fucking thousands of years. Like it was just so interesting, and just seeing like Buddha statues that were made out of gold that were like bigger than like the state I live in. So like. It was just so interesting, and I'll talk about that at some podcast in the future, I'm sure. Just you never feel like smaller in the world than when you travel 19 hours on a plane and then just go like backpacking around a country for a week. But it was a tremendous experience. But I don't think that their culture is necessarily like better than mine. I think I respect it. There are things that are kind of weird about it, like girls. The age of consent there is much lower than here, which, I mean, I guess if they're fine with that, that's fine. But it just seems weird coming from our perspective, and that's the viewpoint from I'm looking at their yard from my yard, so that's my opinion about it. Am I gonna go like fucking like holding a picket sign outside Tokyo saying that they should change that? No. But I don't think that like American people like saying that when like a 14-year-old girl is barely clothed in an anime, they're like, oh, that's okay, like it's all right. That's all right for them to like be sharing that with the world. It's just how it is. You should just respect it. No, I'm not gonna respect it. I mean, that's what they do, but you sitting here with an American perspective, you're not just, wow, that girl's hot, and like that girl's so cute, man, and get body pillows of that girl and so forth, and it's just gross, and it's just like it only like adds to like the negativity that like outsiders can look at anime with. Like I think that a lot of people who have never read manga or ever seen anime before think one of two things. They think it's either like just kiddie stuff, or like slash like beat 'em up stuff like Dragon Ball Z or something, or they know of it for its scantily clad women and like ecchi shows and that kind of thing, or like lollies. So like lolicon ecchi or fucking DBZ action. Like that's like the two fucking like branches of the tree that I think people like see, and they don't see the base of the tree there. They don't see like what actually is cool about anime. They just see these like these genres and styles that are, just their own thing, like away from, I think, what like a lot of people want to see. Maybe not a lot, but I guess me and other people, I guess. But yeah, I think we need to be more positive. I think it'd be weird to say we need more like positive memes, I guess, but maybe we should be focusing less on making memes about anime and more like actual like analysis and like really think of why do I like X show? Why does this like resonate with me? Right? Spend your time that you would be trying to like make up jokes and like just like write something, even if no one else is gonna read it. If it's just for you, it could be a paragraph, it could be whatever. Why, friggin' I don't know. Why Evangelion is important to me. Why Steins Gate resonates with me. Why I really. And then if you want to like think about like a girl character or something like that, like why I really look up to the Major from Ghost in the Shell or something like that, like tie it into somehow like trying to find your identity. Like think about like real like real issues that like something that's like inspirational, or it could be even be just like something that's like completely negative, like why you like hate. This is one reason why I like villains so much. I love Naraku from Inuyasha because he's a massive manipulator, and he bends people to like his will and just like creates things that follow his will, and kind of does stuff just for the sake of him. Like everything's about him. And I mean, his like fucked up like view of the world and everything, like makes the show that much more interesting because you get the main characters who are the complete opposite and fighting for, a sense of community, a sense of belonging, a sense of righteousness. So it's really two sides of the line there, and I think we need to be on the side of like light more in the anime community. I think it's fine to point out like the flaws within it, but I don't think it's okay to be self-deprecating and potentially hurting people that have like real issues. And I fully believe that there's just some like friggin' like jerk-offs that like make these memes and stuff, and just they personally might not have any problems, but they have no problem making fun of someone else's issues, which is really messed up. And if you're doing that, I mean, you're probably not listening to this podcast because I feel like none of my audience probably doesn't do that. At least I hope you don't. And if you do, I really hope you change. I mean, keep listening to me because I need them views. But no, just kidding. If you do that, then you can go fuck off, I guess. But you need to like change. And just like the community needs to change. And just like stay positive, I'm not like, once again, I'm not no psychiatrist or anything, but I think that if you try and find different stuff in your hobby to like discuss, or watch something like completely different, and maybe it'll change like your viewpoints. Like it could friggin' change your viewpoints on like life and like perspective and on things. And then look at shows that are even like Watamote or like Welcome to the NHK, for like what they actually are. Like, more than just like, don't focus on like the negativity. Like if you look at like Welcome to the NHK, to a lesser point like Watamote, it shows like the negativity that like the community can have, and how people can get like trapped in a certain lifestyle, and like perhaps not realize it at first and be in like denial of it. Like Sato in that show, like he doesn't like think that he's a hikikomori, but he so is. And then this girl like reaches out to help him and stuff, but he has to do a lot of like soul searching himself. He has to like, nobody's gonna really come along and like whisk you out of trouble. People might help you, but like you, at some point you have to kind of pull yourself up, and that can be like hard to tell people. Like people, oh well, how are you just gonna tell me to make myself better? It's hard, man. Life is hard. I think everybody deals with depressing thoughts and stuff at times. Obviously, some people more than others. I think some people definitely have harder lives than other people. Some people are definitely busier than other people with work and more stressed out and everything. But I think that there are other outlets to deal with that than making other people feel bad on the internet. But yeah, I don't know. That's what I thought about it. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you guys just like tired of seeing stuff like that? Because I definitely am, and I know Bob was too. And yeah, new podcast coming Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Follow me on Twitter at Gyre Media. As always, guys, if you have any suggestions, please leave them down below or send me some on Twitter as well. I'm looking for some more podcast topics. And as always, guys, this is the Bearded Senpai Miasma, signing out.